Welcome back to episode 35 of G'day from the USA. I'm your host, Lady Amanda, and I thought it would be fun to have a chat about what it's really like for an Australian living and working in the USA. My co-host this week comes all the way from the Midwest, from Minnesota. G'day.
Good day.
That did not sound very Minnesotan.
No.
She was born and raised in the North Star State and currently lives in Vancouver, Washington. She is about as American as pumpkin spice. Do you like pumpkin spice?
I do not like pumpkin spice.
Yes. I found the one American that isn't obsessed with this stuff.
Because it's not even pumpkin.
But every American gets creamer, everything is pumpkin spice flavored.
Well, I'm weird too. I don't like coffee.
Oh.
I like the smell of coffee. I just don't like the taste.
Yeah, because I don't think it actually is coffee in America. I'm not sure what it is, but it's definitely not what Australians would call coffee.
No, back in the day, it was really bad. It was like instant, gross.
Ew, I don't like the drip stuff. So you've never liked coffee?
I like the smell of it.
Yes.
And my whole family was very obsessed with coffee. And I was the weirdo that would drink tea.
Oh, you're one of those tea ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't do tea. Everyone loves it, but it's not my thing. Why is it called the North Star State?
That's a good question. I don't know if I know that answer, but I know that there was a lot of French-Canadian trappers that came down, so I don't know. And actually, the former hockey team, the North Stars, which are now Dallas Stars, were called North Stars because of the North Star State. But
now you don't know. We're going to have to Google that.
Yeah.
You're normally my fact checker.
I am.
So it's sort of a little weird.
I need to Google it.
You are going to have to because, yes, I would like to thank you for all the feedback you give every week. It is very helpful. I love the random facts.
Well, I'm trying not to be a know-it-all because I am a Midwesterner and we're very modest. And that sometimes to me like, oh, am I being too know-it-all?
No, not at all. I'm like glad one person is listening. How has your week been?
I'm glad it's over. How's that?
Oh, has it been that bad?
Well, I have a very stressful job, so I'm very happy.
Are we allowed to talk about what you do?
Yeah, sure. I work for the city of Vancouver, Washington. I work in the records department. And it's my first government job, even though it's probably the last of my career.
Oh. Is it good in terms of, what do you call it, benefits?
It's great in terms of benefits. We get a lot of holidays. We get a lot of PTO.
Paid time off?
Yes.
Like vacation?
Yeah. Correct. But it's very stressful because I deal with the public, I deal with all the attorneys, and I also deal with the police officers.
Not loving that for you.
Yeah.
Does it at least pay well?
It's okay. It's the benefits that are great.
You stick around for those. I would like to thank you for these delicious muffins. Please tell us what you bought fresh out the oven. While I have another
just
bite.
Blueberry muffins, nothing that fancy,
so
but I did
good.
add real blueberries, and I did make it from a mix, so it's not.
I don't admit to that on air.
Well,
no one would know. I mean, they're delicious. I was going to take another bite, but let me ask you about your trip. You just came back from London, Europe,
England, and Scotland.
Okay, and so the UK.
Yes, the UK.
What was your favourite part? And tell me about your hike, that voluntary hike. I don't understand
the long walk.
Yeah.
Yes. So I went with two other girlfriends, and everybody kind of had their own little thing. So it was really like 3 trips in one. It started because my best friend Lori, who I live with, and we've been best friends since I was 12.
Oh, hi, Lori.
Yeah. She always wanted to do this hike in northern England called Hadrian's Wall. Hadrian,
I've heard of it.
Yeah, he was a Roman emperor. She loves everything Roman. And she'd heard about this hike, and there's still Roman ruins. It was a wall back in the day that he built to try to keep the barbarians out, which are the Scottish people right now. But and it was really cool. It was very beautiful, English countryside. It was probably a little too challenging for me compared to my other two friends who were a little bit more gung-ho than I am.
Really?
But the first day was 16 miles. Ooh. And then the rest of the time was like between 12 and 15, and it was 4 days. Yeah, so it was long.
Was it steep or was it pretty much?
It was rolling hills, so it's not
up and down,
It wasn't like the Columbia River Gorge, which is really hilly, or, mini mountains is what we call them in Minnesota.
They're definitely bigger mountains.
And I never thought Minnesota was flat until I came here.
Oh.
Yeah.
Minnesota's flat?
Well, it's not as flat as Iowa or Nebraska, and we have hills, and the northern part of the state is gorgeous. We've got the Lake Superior, and it's way more cliffy and rocky up there.
Nice. Yeah. So what brought you here?
Lori.
Ah, your friend, BFF.
Yeah, so, yes, we lived together right out of college, and then she got a job with Hewlett-Packard out here in the early 90s. So I'd always come out here and visit, and I have another really good friend that lives up in Seattle. Hi, Rhonda.
G'day, Rhonda.
And she moved to Seattle because she had family there. So those used to be, in the 90s, this used to be my vacation spot where I'd come out to Seattle, hang out with Rhonda for a couple days, and then come down and see Lori, or Lori would come up and visit us. So Rhonda and Lori have always been my big travel buddies.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So
and then you just decided it's about time.
Well, it was supposed to be my retirement plan.
Oh.
And then Lori and I were in Colorado and I had some friends out there. They're back in Minnesota now, but and they're a great couple. I went to, I didn't go to school with them, I guess. We had the same profession, her husband, and then and his wife. Her name's also Karen. She they're just a great people, and she was in HR and helped me a little bit when I was having some issues with a job I had, and she was going to be like a life coach, and I think she's back in HR now. But she just looked at me and said, "Well, why don't you move now?" I'm like, "What's keeping you in Minnesota?" And I had no answer for that because it used to be my parents, and they had passed away years prior. So I was like, So then Lori and I started talking about it. We're both planners, so it wasn't going to happen overnight. So it took me a year, and I was like, okay, so will this work again? And she's like, yeah, that would work. Well, we know we can live together because we've done it before. And we were both in good spots, and we had the same philosophy about life and money and all that kind of stuff.
Perfect.
So
Match made in heaven.
So, it just works for us, and
you just picked up and Beckham.
I have a kitty eating the muffin.
Yes, Beckham decided the muffin looked really good.
So I sold my house I'd lived in for 21 years.
Whoa!
And I moved out here and moved in with her, and then we sold her house and bought one together.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
great.
Amazing. Yeah, it's good to have friends like that.
Yeah, it is. It's very, very special.
It is. Speaking of friends, mutual friends, I went away last weekend to the San Juan Islands.
Nice.
Have you ever been?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, magic. Did you know there's 172 named islands and reefs in San Juan County?
Wow.
I did not know that. Yes, some of them are no bigger than a rowboat, and many disappear when the tide gets too high. But a lot of the small and medium ones are owned by private people. So I'm sort of a little jealous I don't have one.
You need your own island.
Even if it's just as big as a rowboat, I'd like to say I own an island in the San Juans. But it was magic. Have you been to Friday Harbour?
Yes, but a long time ago in the 90s.
Oh, well, it was spectacular. My second trip in about the past month, because I went on my little nighttime bioluminescent rafting trip.
That looks cool.
And this time we explored the entire island. We went to Roche Harbour, which has the biggest lime something or other.
Mineral deposit.
Yes, something like that. But yeah, I had a really good time. It was good. We have some feedback from last week. Everyone enjoyed Brandy coming on the show for the second time. As we know, she has a wonderful sense of humour. And yes, I can't remember what we talked about, but I think we just chit-chat. Mm-hmm. What do you say in America? Shoot the breeze?
Yes.
Yes, we shot the breeze. So, I have questions.
Oh, no. And I didn't finish telling you about my trip either. Sorry.
Oh, yes. No, tell me more. Tell me more. Okay, tell me about the rest of your trip.
So we flew into Edinburgh, Scotland, which is a gorgeous little town. It's the capital.
I do love that.
Gorgeous.
Did you go to the castle?
Yeah. No, we couldn't get in.
What?
But we did Holyrood, and we did Arthur's Seat, and we did Colton Hill, and all kinds of really cool stuff there. We were only there for like 2 days.
Do you love the accents?
Yes.
That was a delay.
Okay, there was a delay because it's funny because another long story that I'll try to make short. I had an ex-boyfriend who had passed away last year, and he had a friend that was Scottish, and this Scottish friend he met because he came to Minnesota to work at this camp. And that's how they met at this. They were both working at this camp. So I knew this guy because my ex didn't do social media, and so I was their intermediate on Facebook, or Facey, as you say.
Facey, yes.
And so I kind of knew him, but didn't know him. Dave and I haven't been together for years and years, but we had a lot of mutual friends and had been friends before we dated for years. So I found out through the grapevine that he passed away, and
that's sad.
Yeah, it was kind of a tragic story, but anyways, he had an accident.
Oh, that's even more tragic.
Yeah, but
I was picturing some illness or something.
No, but
that's sad.
He was an alcoholic, so he'd started drinking again, and that's how he had an accident. So, kind of sad.
That is sad.
He was a good person. He just had a lot of issues with that kind of stuff. But anyways, this friend reached out to me because he had heard that he had passed away, and so we kind of corresponded and chatted a little bit and kind of caught up, and so I told him, hey, I'm coming to Scotland, and I don't know where you live, but it would be kind of cool to have dinner with you or meet you in person, and so he's a sweet guy, and he drove like 2 hours to come and have dinner with me and my friends
in
one
Edinburgh?
night. We were actually in Glasgow.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so he came.
And how was it?
It was
great.
It awkward at all? No, not at all.
Oh,
He's
I love
a sweetheart.
I feel like it can never be awkward with someone from Scotland.
Yeah, and it was so funny because my friends were like, we don't understand him. And I'm like, I totally understood everything he said.
Really? Because that's like what everyone says to me. Like they just look at me blankly and I'm just like, oh, God.
But
Scottish accent's a lot harder.
I had a funny thing I went to Australia years and years ago, like 30 years ago, and I wanted to have somebody there that that was local and like hang out with them for a little bit. And this was pre-internet days, so I did a pen pal thing,
like handwritten.
Yes, handwritten.
I love that.
And met this woman, and we're still friends today.
Really,
Allison.
what's her name?
Allison.
Oh, Allison from Australia.
Yeah, well, she's from Ballarat.
This is right near me.
Yes.
I'm from Melbourne.
Yep. So we went.
I think I know Alison from Ballarat.
No way.
Yes.
No way.
There's only one. No.
There's only one.
I have no idea.
I know it's a small town.
It is very small.
She comes from a huge family of all women, so
Allison.
or mainly. Yeah.
Have you heard of oh God, I've got mental blank, but there's a place and you can pan for gold.
Yes, we went there.
Yes.
She took us there.
Sovereign Hill.
So yeah, okay. I didn't know the name of it, but Rhonda went with me.
Yeah, how cool is that?
Yeah, so that was
I
really
love
cool.
that place. And they're all dressed up in their old time clothes and they're going to a little candy store, lolly shop, whatever we call it back there.
But at the time she was married she lived on a sheep farm and married to a sheep farmer.
That's cool.
And we could not understand a word he said.
Oh, he spoke real thick accent.
Except beer. Like, okay, I get
Did he always have one in his hand?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, it's a typical Australian.
Yeah.
Did you shear a sheep?
No, but he did show us how he commanded them or whatever. He did all these different whistles, and it was really cool. They were really super smart. But Allison was like, oh, those damn bloody sheep.
Yeah, sounds like us.
So that's why she's not married anymore to him. So.
Oh.
Which
I did hear she got divorced.
Yeah. Right, yes. Yeah, you do not know her.
But everyone thinks Australia is so tiny that we must know everyone.
It's
like
not
someone will
that
randomly
tiny.
say to me, do you know John? And I'm like, oh, John from Australia, right? Yeah.
Like when I worked at Target headquarters, people would say, oh, do you know so-and-so? I'm like, there's thousands of people. But a couple times I would actually know the people that they were. And it was like, how do you know that guy?
I feel like it would happen to you because you randomly know so many facts and stuff that if it was going to happen to anyone.
All kinds of useless information.
No, I love it. If I was going to a trivia night, I'd take you.
Well, I like trivia. So.
Yeah, I actually would like to go to one. If you ever hear of one, let's do it.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah. Okay. What was it like growing up as a kid in the USA?
It was really hard for me. I had a dysfunctional family.
Brothers, sisters?
I have one older brother.
Okay. What's the age gap?
4.5 years.
Oh,
but we're night and day. We always have been, even as kids. Anything he liked, I didn't like. Anything I liked, he doesn't like. So
still same way.
Pretty much. Now that we're adults, we tolerate each other. But he's married to a woman I don't really appreciate.
Not loving her.
But it's okay. It is what it is. We're all different.
Yeah, parents.
Yeah, my parents never got along. There's a lot of issues and reasons why. And now that I'm an adult, I get it more, and I understand. And I have some of the same issues they did. So
apples never fall far from a tree.
So whatever. But they did the best they could, and that's all I go for. And I lived in an area in Minnesota. We were pretty isolated. The neighborhood I grew up in, all the kids were like 10 years younger than me. So it was great.
What city?
It was called Eagan, Minnesota.
Eagan. Not heard of it. Is it near Minneapolis?
Yes. Yeah,
okay.
It's about half an hour south of
so like a sort of
it's a suburb
out of that. Yeah.
So and we grew up in an area that was just starting to be developed. Now it's like the place to live in that area, which is so funny because it wasn't. It was, but then it was being built up with housing development.
Yeah.
But it was great when I was like 10, 12, because then I babysat every weekend.
Oh, nice.
And I made a ton of money and saved up a ton of money to go to school.
What were you getting paid back then?
I have no idea. Probably not much. Probably like 50 cents an hour or something. Yeah.
Wow, that's
much.
Cool.
But it was nice. I come from a very workaholic background, so both my parents. You definitely
have that streak.
Yeah.
Because you do moonlight. Should we say what you moonlight as?
Oh, definitely, because that's a
stripper.
Level. Yeah. Oh, hell no. I'm Minnesotan. We don't do well. Actually, there are strip joints in Minnesota.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Interesting.
When I lived in Minneapolis, I actually had one of my neighbors was a stripper.
Oh.
Yeah, she was interesting. But she moved back to Wisconsin. So
I hear you can make good money.
I think so, but no, thank you.
Yeah.
Not my kind of thing.
So what do you do? What do you moonlight
I have a
as?
pet sitting business.
Yeah, so yes, and all I can say is that she's a cat whisperer or animal whisperer because she walked in and Sydney, who's skittish, just went straight up to her and started like purring against her hand. And right now Beckham has covered you in fur from one end of you to the other.
That's okay.
And
I already was with my
lap.
cats.
Yes. So you definitely got that going for you. And everyone I know loves you, like raves about your skills.
Oh, thank you.
Like Brandy, Deb. God, they just want to clone you and take you everywhere they go.
That's how and Amanda and I met.
Yes. All of us
Brandy
through
and
that.
Deb through pets.
It was. Okay, second question. How many states have you visited?
42.
I love that you know this. Did you know that I was going to ask you this and prepare the answer, or do you just know that?
I know that because I'm a very goal-oriented person, and it's like I want to visit. I'm like you. I wanted to visit all 50, but I haven't quite made it to all 50.
What is missing?
So
and how can we
very
fix this?
random.
They're all scattered, aren't they?
Pretty much.
I knew that was going to happen.
Well, the one now that I live in Washington, I really need to go to Alaska because I haven't gotten Alaska yet.
That is a crime. You need to get on that boat from Seattle and go on a little cruise.
Or something. Yeah.
I would recommend that.
Well, and a friend of Lori's, Dan, is from Alaska, and so he brought his family up there, and I was like, I need to get notes from you of where to go. And he's like, I have lots of notes.
Yeah, no, seriously, you need to knock that one. Okay.
Yeah. So that's not the first one on my list.
And the closest.
Yeah, and then I've got Vermont
and
Maine,
Vermont.
Vermont was my state.
Stunning.
In 5th grade. We all had everybody had a state that you had to report on or whatever. And it's like, Vermont.
And it's sort of sad that you haven't been there.
It's sad. I
love all those. You call it North England?
Northeast.
Isn't it called New England? New England.
Yes.
Okay. So have you been to Connecticut?
Yes.
Have you been to Massachusetts?
Yep.
You're so close.
I know. Yeah, so it's got Alaska, Vermont, Maine, Indiana, Ohio.
Oh.
Not my favorite.
Okay, I'm a little surprised because looking at a map of the USA, there's Minnesota, and not too far are all these ones.
There are ways. There's states in between.
But still, just
but
down the
there's
road.
not like a reason to. I mean, it's not like Europe. There's not really a reason. Right. Although there's the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which I would be interested in.
That sounds cool.
And then like West Virginia. Who goes to West Virginia?
I mean, if you go to Virginia, maybe fling over to the west. Yeah. It was pretty.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I've only driven in and out. I've not really done anything crazy, but I remember thinking it's really pretty. Yes.
What else? Oklahoma. And I actually know somebody who lives in Oklahoma.
You definitely need to visit.
Need to go to Oklahoma.
These are pretty scattered.
Yeah,
but I feel like you could make a road trip out of it. I mean, it'd be a long road trip to get up to.
I think it's a couple
Vermont.
road trips. Yeah, I haven't been to Kentucky either.
Ooh,
so that would be really
Kentucky.
fun. So I think like Kentucky, Indiana, Ohio could be
a
trip.
Easy. I mean, they're pretty much neighbors. I mean, maybe not. Is Ohio?
Yes.
Ohio is so like the tongue twister state to me. Ohio. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm impressed. You've probably done the most of any guest I've had on. Congratulations.
Thank you.
If there was a prize, you would win it.
Woo!
Okay. Now, I know you know this for a fact. How many countries have you visited?
25.
I love that you know that. And what was your most favourite?
Australia and Turkey. I have to say Turkey was. Yeah, and they're both very different.
My grandpa was born in Turkey.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, Istanbul, I think. Favourite store?
I'm not really a shopper, so that's
hard
for me.
Yeah, that's a cop out.
No, but
it can be Amazon. It can be.
No, I don't really.
There's somewhere that you purchase stuff from that you love.
You know, I know you asked this question, so I was thinking about it. And I was like, I'm like Fred Meyer. That's the only store I really go to. But it's
that could be a favorite.
It's like food, and they have
it has everything,
clothes and stuff.
I just went there this morning. I bought some like pastries and fresh things. Like the quality seems good at Fred Meyer. Like much better than Walmart.
Oh yeah,
for example.
Well,
like
I worked at Target, and I used to tell people that it was illegal for me to shop at Walmart, and they actually believed me.
I love that. You can tell it. If you say anything with confidence, anyone will believe you. Yeah. So we're going to go with Fred Meyer?
Yeah, either that, or if I had to pick a clothing store, I'd pick probably Kohl's, which is such an old ladies.
I love Kohl's. No, it's all about the bargains.
They're from Wisconsin.
Really?
So
that's your neighbor?
Neighbor from Minnesota.
Yeah, I love that. Favorite restaurant?
I'd have to probably go with something local.
Yes, I could see that about you.
Yeah, because I'm not really into chains.
Have you explored much around here?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you've been to every winery in existence.
No, but close. I do love my wine.
You do. So there has to be a restaurant. What is your favorite, breakfast, lunch, or dinner?
I'm not a breakfast person because I'm allergic to gluten.
Why is everyone coming on this show saying they're not into breakfast? I think Ashley had said the same thing and I was slightly insulted.
It would make me feel like bloated and gross.
What about like an omelette?
Oh, I eat eggs.
Yeah.
Now, it's funny because if you talk to one of my friends who lived with me for a month, when between her houses, she'd be like, "You used to try to choke down those damn eggs." And I'm like, yeah, but I usually in the morning, if I have a decent breakfast, would be I saute vegetables and throw an egg in it. So eggs to me are a vehicle for other things.
Yeah, fair call. Okay, so we're going lunch or dinner?
Probably lunch.
I like that. A little midday lunch.
Yeah.
And where would you go? Like a winery or somewhere?
Wineries usually don't have food. I usually bring my own food.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So if we're going to pick one, what are we going with?
I'd probably go Kindy, which is a local
yes.
Thai one that we tried to go to the other night.
Would have gone to that, but unfortunately, Karen's one job of picking the restaurant, it was closed on the Monday. What are your thoughts on tipping?
Oh, I was the one that gave you way too much feedback.
Yes, you did. They're from the Europeans.
Yes.
Do you agree with it?
Yeah. To an extent, yes. But I agree with everybody that's come on and said it's really gotten out of hand.
It has.
Because it's like, I always feel, I'm Midwestern. We feel guilt. It's like I feel guilty if I don't.
Yes, I'm the guilt one.
I just went yesterday to a Thai restaurant downtown Vancouver, and it's like I ordered over the phone. They put it together. I had to wait because they were really busy.
What was the place?
It's called Nom Nom.
I thought it was Thai Orchid. No.
And I like Nom Nom better than Thai Orchid. But anyways, and I still feel like I had to give them a tip. And I was
you literally just picked it up.
They didn't do anything.
This is what I mean.
And I'm like, I hope they share this like with the cooks or the dishwashers.
I honestly
or somebody.
don't think they even, like, you know how like back in the day if you gave a good tip, like whenever my mum and I would road trip, we'd go to Cracker Barrel, favourite restaurant, little store in the front, like loved it. And let's just say we shared a meal because, they're massive. Our meal might have been like $13 or whatever. We would always give like a $20 tip or something like extreme to the waitress because, well, for one, it sort of makes me sad that a lot of them are so much older. Like, you know what I mean? They're 60s and 70s. Like, should be in retirement and they're like literally like doing these hard jobs. And we ate so cheaply that it was like nothing to give like a $20. And they were very grateful. But I feel like here in the Pacific Northwest, like if you were to give a $10 tip, it wouldn't even raise an eyebrow. It'd be like, thanks. Oh, you know what I mean? And it might be for something like it could be 100% tip and they just wouldn't even – it's just so –
it's the expected. Yeah, that's the word. Like
I feel like that's where it loses me. Like if someone expects it, I'm like, eh. Whereas if they're just like grateful for it, and not that I'm wanting the accolades, whatever for it. I'm just like – I want it to be like you're rewarded for good service or whatever, not just...
It's supposed to be something extra.
Yes, because we know they're still getting minimum wage, which is like $15 something. I might sound like a bloody broken record about this, but so pretty much you're agreeing with everything else. Like it's got pretty crazy now.
Yeah, there are some states though that still have lower.
Yes,
they pay people that are servers lower because they figure they're going to make it up in tips, which it's like, well, that's not right.
I agree. That's why we're probably more generous in those Midwestern. I think they're more states. Southern. Yes, yeah, exactly. Like the Kentuckys and the Virginias and all that. What was your very first job? Well, I already know the answer to this. Babysitting.
Babysitting, yes.
And we don't know how much you got paid, but we're
not much. But I saved every dang dime I made.
Oh, I love that. What did you want to be when you grew up?
Probably the first thing I ever thought of was teacher.
Interesting. I thought you were going to say vet.
But when I look back at it, I think I probably should have done like something with animals.
Oh, 100%.
Or I always really liked photography back in the day.
I could see
but I really
that.
didn't have any adult role models to kind of push me in one direction or the other. So I was kind of lost until I was like in my mid-30s, and then I went back and got a grad degree in library science. And that was my
What even is the library science?
Library and information science. It has science
Break
in the word.
It down for an Australian. Is this like...
So it's librarians.
Okay, so you're officially?
I'm officially a librarian. I'm a card-carrying librarian. It was funny because when I graduated from grad school, my friend Lori at the time was living in Israel, and we had to do a trip. It was like, okay, we need to do something to celebrate. Yeah. And she came up with a great idea. The first library was Alexandria, Egypt.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So we did Egypt.
Huh.
And when we were in Alexandria, the library was closed, which I was really bummed because it was Ramadan. But we had this awesome guide, and I said, "But I have a card to prove I'm a librarian." And at the time, I did.
It really said that,
and I showed it, and he went and bribed the guide.
What?
That was like their guard or whatever, and we got to go in even though it was closed. We couldn't stay very long.
That is so cool.
Yeah, so I am a card carrying. Wow.
Do you carry the card everywhere with you?
I don't even know where it is now. Since I moved, I don't know where.
Wow, that is really cool.
And for all my librarian friends, it was an SLA card, which is Special Libraries Association. So it was an association I belonged to, and people are like, what does that mean? It's with people that specialize collections is what we deal with. So
why are you not a librarian now?
Because what I did is hard to there's not a lot of special librarian jobs anymore. When I was in Minnesota, I worked for insurance companies. I worked for what else did I do? Target, which is a retail store. Yeah. I worked for a manufacturing company. I worked for my last job in Minnesota was an enginering firm where I did library and records for them.
Interesting. So more than just
kind of like an offshoot
library, library. Not to get into your finances too much, but did you accumulate huge student loans from this?
I was very lucky because I went to grad school in the 90s, but I also had to work full time because I had a house payment. Yeah. So I took it. It was supposed to be a 2-year program, and I tried to do it in 4 years. I did it in 3.5 because I got so sick of being in school.
Nice.
So the companies I worked for, we had to take 12 classes, and 6 of them were paid by the companies I worked for.
Love
because
that.
I was a great benefit back in the day. And then so I only had to pay for 6 on my own.
Nice. So it wasn't too bad.
No.
And out of curiosity, what was your first house? Like, what did that cost?
I think it was like $80,000 or something.
Nice. And was that expensive at the time?
No, not really.
You
It
were
was
like,
affordable.
this is cheap.
No, it wasn't cheap, but it was affordable.
Nice. For how many bedrooms?
I had 3 bedrooms.
Nice. Very cool.
Only 1 bathroom. It was modest. It was
that's all you need.
Minneapolis. I lived there 21 years. I lived there a
Wow.
long
Are the
time.
house prices still a lot cheaper over there than here?
No, they're very equivalent.
Huh.
Very expensive
That's sort of
now.
sad. First car.
This is a hard question because I think I didn't really have a car. Like everybody now, like I went to my school. I call it college, but now the correct term is university.
Uni.
To us, back in the day, a college was a smaller school. I went to a small private school, and I picked it because it was in Minneapolis. It was in the city because I knew I'd have to work.
Yeah.
Because I paid for it myself.
Yeah.
And with loans and stuff like that too. But my family did not have money to send us to college, so it was on my own. But I had a really great opportunities because it was next to the University of Minnesota. So we could use like their libraries and some of their resources.
Yeah.
And then I could also find a full-time job outside of the
So it was a bit
college,
win-win.
so, yeah. So I'd never had a car. I never had a car then because it was always, take the bus or walk or whatever.
Like everything was close.
So then when I graduated, I believe like for a couple months, my mom had an extra car. So I think it was a Chevy Impala, but it was really an old.
Is that really big?
Big and
That's
a beater.
what I'm picturing.
And I remember
Beater with a heater.
Yeah, pretty much. And I know that like there was some times when it wouldn't start and you'd have to open up the hood and there's the air filter. You could actually get to them back in the day.
Yeah.
And I had to stick a pencil in there.
What?
Because it had the air, there had to be the air
So
for the fuel thing.
How do you even know to do that? You know what I mean? Like, oh, let me just stick a pencil in here and it will start. Boom.
Because someone, I think my brother my brother was really into cars, so he always had multiple cars since he was like 16. So
Nice.
yeah, so.
Wow. I'm picturing that car and I'm picturing it to be huge.
Well, and then the first car I ever bought on my own was a Reliant K car. So talk about like
Reliant car. Never heard of it.
It was a very never had like cute sporty cars. I've always just been
Functional.
functional.
Functional's
Even
good.
now, I have at work. One of the questions we had like an icebreaker is like, tell a boring fact about yourself. And I'm like, I drive a gray Camry. How much more boring can you get?
Wait, Camrys are reliable.
It's very.
I guess
that's
that
kind of like
sums you up.
That's like my personality: boring
It's
and reliable.
This is true. Just kidding. I find you fascinating. I would never
thank
put you in the category of boring. Did you drink before you were 21?
Back in my day, I sound like I'm a million years old. Drinking age in Minnesota was 19.
Oh, I didn't realize it changed between states.
And in Wisconsin, it was 18. Oh. So a lot of people would go across the border and
just to have a drink.
But I was old for my grade. My brother used to tease me that I flunked kindergarten, but I did not flunk kindergarten.
I don't even think that's possible.
There was a cutoff that kids born September 1st or later in the year had to wait the next year. Well, my birthday is the middle of September, so I had to wait another year. So I was very old for my grade.
I would rather be older than younger, like just to be more
worked
mature.
out great for me because then I went to college, so it was only 2 weeks, and then I was legally able to drink.
Nice. So you did not drink before the league. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
But
may have had a sip here and there.
Yeah. Well, it was. My family was really interesting because my grandfather was a recovered alcoholic. Mm-hmm. But my parents were not weird about alcohol. We would have wine with holidays and stuff like that. And I don't know if they made a conscious decision or my mom just decided that, I'm not going to make this a weird thing for them. And,
so that you would want to sneak it or steal
right,
it or
yeah.
whatever.
And
Gotcha.
it never, and my dad probably would have killed us if we would have ever done anything like that
Crazy.
anyways.
So suffice to say, you did not have a fake ID.
No.
You
But
are that one American.
I do have a weird story about that. When I was in college, there was this crazy little Mexican bar called Montanitas that we would go to because they would offer happy hour at like 10 o'clock at night. And so the margaritas were half price. And then they had a taco bar.
Right.
So, for starving college kids, it was great because we could
perfect.
get food.
Yes.
And in the 80s, a lot of places had free food with happy hour, so
nice.
It was great for us.
Yeah.
But the guy that owned it was like a mobster, or like literally a mobster.
Perfect.
And was like funneling money. We didn't care because it was cheap.
Right.
Yeah. So a bunch of my girlfriends that I went to college with, there was two of us that were of legal age because one gal was a year older. So they would have to officially check IDs. But there'd be like a table of 10 of us. So we had my ID and this other gal's ID.
You just kept recycling them.
Yeah, we would just pass it down. And they checked, but we were all named Karen and Renee.
I love that.
That was my bad. Like, oops. Glad my parents aren't alive. They'd kill me if I did.
Oh, my God.
Like
That's
that.
funny. What is your favorite way to spend a day off? I probably know the answer to this.
Probably either hanging out with animals or hiking. Those are my two answers.
I didn't know that. I was going to say go to a winery.
Oh, yeah, I like that too.
Have a flight of wines to taste.
Hang out.
Hang out. Enjoy some music.
Oh,
you do love your music.
I love my music.
What's your favourite bands? I probably won't know a single one. But
nobody will know any of these bands.
I wouldn't, unless it's like Madonna, Rihanna. I won't even know.
I don't like popular music. And a lot of people tease me that I like boy music because I
didn't even know there was such a thing.
More into the like guitars and I love I'm a lyric person. I love language, and if they
Jazz?
write a good song, no more blues. If I had to pick a genre, I'd say blues. But
Nice.
I like rock and roll too. So.
Did you enjoy going to like Memphis and places like that where it's all about the music?
My favorite place to go for music is New Orleans.
Yes, you have done many a trip there, and you're going again, correct?
Yes, in the end of the month.
Exciting. What do you do there? Just visit? Like, is it just travel around listening to music, or is it for work?
It depends on, I've been, so there's a music festival every spring it's called Jazz Fest, but it's more than just jazz music. There's jazz, blues, gospel, rock and roll, everything. It's a huge festival. And I love it because it's during the day. And so you go hang out, and it's at their racetracks at the fairgrounds.
Nice.
And there's music and food, and you can just walk around. And the people watching is awesome. And there's people from all over the world that come to this.
Wow.
And, they get real big headliners too. Elton John.
Oh,
I've seen
wow.
Tom Petty there. And like Willie
That is
Nelson.
impressive.
Like all of these different people have come there. Then you go back to your hotel or wherever you're staying, clean up, go have a beautiful dinner because I love the food down there. And then there's all these bands that play at night too. So you could
win-win.
Don't sleep very much when I'm there, and I'm a sleep baby, so it's kind of like
yeah, it'd be perfect for me because I literally never sleep. What was the worst trouble you ever got in? Or has it happened so much that you're trying to narrow them down to the worst?
I was a good girl.
I see that you probably were a little innocent and maybe did not stir the pot.
Well, because I grew up in a very small house, and my parents, were disciplinarian and you just didn't want to make my dad mad. That was just not a thing to do. So I didn't really get in trouble until I moved out into college. And then I had a little too much fun my first year.
Yes. And the games began.
My best friend was a gal from North Dakota, and she was smart as a whip, and we had way too much fun that first year together.
Yeah.
So
did it end in jail?
No. Oh gosh, no.
Okay.
No, the worst thing, it was kind of funny because I was friends with our RA, which is resident advisor. So there was one person in our dorm that, she was a year older and was supposed to be like the one in charge or whatever.
Right.
She was one of the more troublemaker people.
Love it.
But her boyfriend and I had a boyfriend for like 3 months. We're best friends. Mm-hmm. So I got to know her really well. So we hung out, and then there was a small group of us that hung out. And my roommate, because you got assigned a person, she was a little different. Let's just say that. That's the Minnesota way of saying, interesting or different.
Yes. So character.
We got along for like 3 months, and then she just had these very strange ideas. And my friend Darla, who is the friend from North Dakota, she just was like, this woman's ridiculous, whatever. So Darla loved to play practical jokes.
Ooh, I love Darla.
And this other gal just didn't think they were funny because they were really usually directed at her. You know, it was like short cheat your bed, silly things like that. But she had
no sense of humor.
No, and she had 3 other friends, and one of them they like idolized. It was really weird. It was something okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they complained about us, my little group of friends, to the housing person or whatever. So at the end of the year, we got called in and had to have like a counseling session.
Oh, God.
And all this. And,
So this is like the worst trouble.
Well, and it's funny because we all got letters sent home.
Ooh.
Well, I'm not dumb. I intercepted the mail.
Oh,
My parents
clever.
never knew. I
Okay,
still
this
have
is
that
perfect.
letter, though.
You do?
Yes, it's hilarious. And
I'm
then
going to have to see that one day.
years later, an older librarian friend of mine asked me if I knew this woman, and she was the housing woman.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I know her. And she's like, and I told her the story, and she was like, oh, I'm sure she thought it was ridiculous too, because she was a real partier, and she probably would have been right there with you. And I'm like, oh, that's good, because we were always kind of afraid of her.
That's a classic. Wow. Okay, so that is crazy. If you could go back in time to any point in U.S. history, what would it be?
I've thought about this one because I listen.
You have.
So I would think that probably the 1920s, because I had my mom's mother was, I called her a flapper because I've seen photos.
She's like the Roaring 20s?
Yes. So she was a fun personality even. She lived to be in her early 90s. And I didn't really have she was the only grandparent that I really was close to. My dad's parents died before I was born. And then her ex-husband, she got divorced in the 40s, which is totally not
Could
something
never
you
imagine
did. But she was very strong-willed, but she was fun. And she taught me a lot of crazy things.
Ooh, so you'd love to go back in time and hang out with her.
Right, yeah.
That's the best answer I think anyone's ever given.
Well, I've thought about it, so that's probably helped.
Like instead of being about some historical figure
it's all personal about me.
It's all about you.
Hanging out with my grandmother. I think you were very
selfish from the moment I met you.
Yeah, right.
Best advice anyone has ever given you?
This was from my mother, and I've also thought about this.
Yes.
So I used to love to do things as a kid. In my family, we didn't really do things as a family. Right. So I'd always be hanging out with other people's families. Yeah. And her advice was, always know where the person that has the car keys is.
Oh.
I told that to Izzy
so true.
When I was hanging out with Deb and Brandy. Yes. I'm like, here, Izzy, here's some advice. She's 10, 12, something like that. And I'm like, here's some advice for you. Like, so
always know where the person with the car. It's so true. You don't want to be left behind.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. That's actually really...
And I was a quiet, shy kid, so she probably was looking out for me that I didn't get left.
Right. That is true. Random fact that no one would ever know about you. Interesting.
Probably the weirdest one, and goes back to music, is that Lori and I went to Lori loves the Grateful Dead.
Mm-hmm.
The original, not the new version.
Right.
The John Mayer, not that. Just back when Jerry Garcia was around. We went just out of the blue, decided that we were going to go to San Francisco to see them because they used to do a New Year's Eve thing in San Francisco. And we were young and like, okay, so we couldn't get a decent price for a flight from Minneapolis to San Francisco. So we flew to Vegas, rented a car, and drove the whole damn way. But that was the last year they ever did New Year's Eve.
Oh, and how far are we talking drive?
From Vegas to San Francisco? It was a long drive.
Oh, that sounds maybe 15 hours?
Yeah, I'm not even sure. But, I mean, it was back.
A trek?
in the late 80s, early 90s. I don't know what year. Well, I could look it up, but I don't know what year it was. And people were like, you went to it? And I was like, yeah, it's like, I like music. I'm not.
So you're that dedicated.
I'm not, most people think I'm not a deadhead. I'm not
so I'm
a pot smoker or
that you're a diehard music fan.
I am, and I would love. That's kind of one of my things is now I feel like I've seen all the bands I really like to see.
Yeah.
Now it's the auditoriums. I've never been to the Ryman. I'd love to go to the Ryman.
Interesting.
I've been to Red Rocks in Colorado. That was phenomenal.
Huh. So. Okay. Have you ever been to the Opera House? Did you ever see that when you were in Australia? You have. I'm impressed.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Sydney. I love Sydney.
But did you go to Melbourne? Forget Sydney.
Of course.
You did?
Yes. And I need to go back because I need to go to the tennis tournament.
Yes, the Australian Open, of course. Because this was your last one that you haven't done.
Yep.
You just went to Wimbledon.
Yes.
Was that everything you dreamed of and more?
Well, I didn't get to go to the tournament, but I did get to do a tour. And
so you saw the grass.
Yeah.
That's the only one that they play on grass, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like a huge deal. And
yes.
I wanted to be Chrissy Everett when I was in the 70s when I was a kid.
Were you a great tennis player?
No.
It's my thing. I'm good at no sports.
But I wanted to be athletic, but I was tall and gangly and skinny and not very coordinated, and I'm still not very coordinated.
More unco than you could even imagine. I have a game for you. You may have heard it once or twice, a little guess the Australian word. Are you ready? Have you been studying up on this?
I have not, but I do have a very favorite. My friend Allison came up with the phrase.
Allison from Ballarat. We know her well. Yeah.
She told my friend Rhonda to put skates on. And we looked at her like,
yeah, get your skates on.
Yeah, and we were like, what the hell does that mean?
Do you know now?
Now we know because she told us.
Buddy, hurry up.
Right.
Put your skates on. I didn't even know that was Australian. Oh. Yeah, put your skates on.
We had never heard of it, so we assumed it was
Australian. Bloody love it.
We kept a list of the different things.
That is. Get your skates on. Hurry up. Yeah. Okay,
People in
number
the US
one.
would not know that. So.
Interesting. I'm going to have to ask someone that. They just can't listen to this episode, of course. Number one, Relo.
Relo.
Relo. R-E-L-O.
I'm thinking you like a relative?
Yes.
Okay.
Karen. Ding, ding, ding. I'm impressed. Okay, number two, going off.
I think that's kind of like, I think we kind of have something like that too, or you're like going off the deep end, or you're like something upsets you and you just kind of go for it.
Like an angry person.
You're right.
Oh my God, they were going off. Like you would say something like they just were going off. They were just like going on and on and about whatever. Number three, which you should know this, Melbs.
Melbourne.
Yes. Did you ever hear that when you were there?
Yes.
Good old Melbs. And Melbourne.
Melbourne.
I did notice you said it quite correctly, not Melbourne.
Yeah.
You're doing really well at this.
Oh, wow.
You really have been to Australia. Okay, this one you should know if you've been there, but maybe not because you don't drink coffee. A long black.
I'm sure it's a type of coffee.
Yes,
yeah.
Americano.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
Well, cuppa is something we learned too.
Cuppa. Yeah, cup
but
of
that's
coffee.
English too.
It is. I feel like we do get a lot of our little things like
do you
that.
want a cuppa? And I'm like, a cup of what?
Yeah, and then the second you go to someone's house, it's like, put the kettle on. Like, yeah, I'm here for a cuppa. Number five, oranga.
My first thought was orangutan, but that's not right.
It's not right, but it's along the same vibe. It may help you. I'm trying to think of what the name for it is here, and I cannot think of what it is, but I know there's... Oh, I just thought of it. Yes.
Is it like somebody being a jerk, like a big ape or something?
No,
I don't know.
But still along the same vibes of that, but more about the colour. Oranga. Like it was someone with something type of hair.
Like orange?
Yes, like a ginger, I think you call it here.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Yeah, so a person with red hair.
Okay.
Would call a oranga. I mean, it sounds
that's very nice.
derogatory, but it sort of just is like R-A-N-G-A, like oranga. I mean, yeah.
Ginger sounds much better.
The more I say it, it does seem a little crazy. So I was hoping we could talk about Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Did I say it right?
Yeah, sure, you betcha.
Why do you not have this accent?
Because I try not to.
Oh, so were you born sounding like that?
Well, it's because back in the hundreds. A lot of people, a lot of Swedish and Norwegian and Germans that's the big group that came over. And my family, my mother was mainly Swedish, a tiny little bit Norwegian, and my dad's family was all German. So I got it from both ends.
So in general, if I was to go there, which I have, but I can't remember the accents, would everyone sound like that?
No, because it's more of a melting pot now.
Right.
But we do elongate our vowels. So I'm going to go on the boat.
Right. And
bag. We have a bag.
Do you, are you conscious to not sound like that, or you don't mind?
I don't mind. I mean, and when I get tired, I probably slip into it more.
Yeah, sound more like that. Because I don't think I've noticed anything crazy. I mean, you've got a twang, don't get me wrong.
Yes.
But...
Well, my family thought I was weird, too, because when I was a kid, I used to say brown. Like,
brown,
and like, you're not from the South? What the heck? Like, we're not from the South? Where is that coming from? And I'm like, I don't know.
Can you do a Southern accent?
No, not really.
Can you do an Australian?
But if I go back to, like, New Orleans, I'll go into y'all.
Oh.
And I'm like, I never say y'all. In the Midwest, we say you guys.
Yes, that does sound like you. Yeah. You guys.
Rather than y'all, but
when you're in a place, do you immerse yourself in it that you almost pick up the accent?
Yes, and
some people can do that really well. I cannot.
I embarrass my friend Lori all the time.
I love that.
This little talking to me because we used to watch the Great British Baking Show all the time, and I would have so much fun with the words, and she'd be like, "You're not going to do that in public, are you?"
Yes,
like,
yes, I am. And did you test out your accent when you were over there?
Not really. We just didn't really have the opportunity.
Oh, I used to always walk around talking with an American accent, thinking I sounded amazing, but now I know.
They were like, "Okay, just humor."
Massacred myself.
But yeah, in Minnesota, we have weird words too. We say pop. We don't say soda.
Oh, interesting.
So it's soda pop, but we say pop.
Just say pop.
Yeah. So I have to keep thinking, like the first time I was here, I was like, okay, they don't call it pop.
What's the American word for it? That's what I always have to think. Okay, so would you just say here soda, or do you just...
Soda, yeah.
So if someone says, what would you like to drink? Are you like, I'll have a soda?
I usually say water, but yeah, soda.
Do you drink any soda at all?
I've never been a big...
What would be, if you had to pick one, what would it be?
It would probably be like a Sprite or 7-Up or something like that. I'm not a cola. I don't really care for colas.
And red or white wine? Oh, it doesn't matter as long as it's wine.
Here it doesn't matter. In Minnesota, it's red.
Interesting.
Because I know how to make white wine here. They don't in Minnesota.
Interesting.
It's too cold to grow. Although Minnesota's trying to have more wineries, but they're
yeah, I can't say I've heard of like Minnesota being the great wine state.
No, it's not.
I mean, I know nothing about wine, but I'm sure I would have heard something
okay, like but it's not where you go to.
Interesting. So I have some truth or lies about Minnesota.
Okay.
And I'm going to test you so you can tell me what you think, okay? The name Minnesota means cloudy water or sky-tinted water.
Correct, and it's a native thing.
Really?
Yeah.
You are true. It comes from the how do I say this? Sioux.
Yes.
Sioux. Yes,
Sioux.
Sioux word mini meaning water and sota meaning sky tinted or cloudy. The name was first given to the Minnesota River.
Yes.
Interesting. Well done. Okay.
That was an easy one.
Okay. They're getting progressively harder.
Uh-oh.
Minnesota has 1,000 lakes. Truth or a lie?
Lie. We have like 12,000.
Okay, you are really good at this. It's actually, if we're going to get technical, 11,842 of 10 acres or more. And if you count the smaller lakes, it goes up to 15,000. But it is nicknamed the land of 10,000 lakes.
Right. And on our license plate, it does say that.
It does say that?
Yes.
The land of 10,000 lakes?
Mm-hmm.
So everyone knows there's not 1,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and
couldn't even trick anyone.
Even in Minneapolis, within the city, there's lakes. I lived 3 blocks from a lake, actually 2 lakes.
Can you swim in them?
Yeah, but I wouldn't. But I'm not a swimmer. But yeah,
so I'd be in them. Got it. Okay, this one, mate. Oh no, You like music. Number 3, Prince the singer was born and raised in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Prince Roger Nelson, of course.
Okay. I was going to say you might not know this one. Okay, and here's some other notable ones. I know you told me this one. Bob Dylan.
Yes.
What was he originally born?
Zimmerman was his last name.
Duluth, Minnesota. Scott Fitzgerald, the author. St. Paul, Minnesota. Judy Garland, I didn't realize. She was born in Grand Rapids. Charles Schultz, a cartoonist, was in Minneapolis. And Jessica Biel was born in, I'm going to massacre this word, Ely, Minnesota. You are really, really unfortunately good at this.
And we had 2 vice presidents.
Oh, who were they?
Walter Mondale, who was Jimmy Carter's vice president. And he was really cool. He was an attorney, and a friend of mine, Jan, who was a librarian, worked at the law firm that he worked at. And when I worked downtown, you would see him just walking around downtown. And I'm like, oh my gosh, cool. That was a vice president. And he's just walking around like a regular guy. And when
he was in his presidency?
No, it was
just after. Yeah. That's really cool. Yeah. Do vice presidents get the presidential Secret Service protection for life as well, or
I
just
think
the president?
They can, I believe, but I don't think the Mondales
Anyone
ever did.
Really cares.
But they were kind of people in Minnesota knew who they were. So, and our other really one was even before that was Hubert Humphrey, who was also a politician. And
got to be honest, haven't heard of him.
Probably not. I mean, he was Lyndon Johnson's.
Okay, I've heard of him.
I think he was Lyndon Johnson.
I love that you know these random facts. Of course you do. Okay, this one, let's see if I can trick you. Number 4, the Mall of America in Bloomington, Minnesota is the largest mall in the United States.
Correct. There's one in Canada, I think, that's bigger, but that's not in the United States.
Did not know that. It is 9.5 million square feet, the size of 78 football fields.
It's obnoxious.
Have you been there?
Yes, it's obnoxious and gross, and we used to call it the Mole of America.
What? Did you know
I'm not a shopper, though.
520 shops?
There's probably
That's insane.
Yeah.
Open to the public since 1992. Did you also know Minnesota has the largest indoor amusement park?
In the Mall of America.
Yes. The park is so big, it is divided into 2 amusement areas. Okay, you're
it used
really
to be
crushing
called
this.
Camp Snoopy after like
Snoopy.
Like Charles Schultz, the Peanuts.
Oh, that was him?
Yeah.
That's sort of cool. Minnesota inventions include Mars bars and Pop-Tarts.
I would say probably correct.
Oh, my God, I finally caught you out. It's a lie.
Okay.
I just made that up.
Okay, because we did Post-it notes of Minnesota. I have a list of.
Okay, let's compare because I've got some.
We invented water ski.
Yes,
which
that's what I got.
Realized.
Water ski. Stapler.
I didn't know that one. Snowmobiling.
I don't have that one. Scotch tape.
Scotch tape because that's 3M.
Wheaties cereals.
Microwave popcorn.
I did not have that one. Automatic pop-up toaster. That was a good one.
I didn't know that one.
Rollerblades.
Oh, yeah, rollerblades.
And Snickers.
Oh, I didn't know.
So
Snickers.
Not Mars bars, but a Snickers.
Okay. Twister, the game Twister.
Was interesting. Okay, I like that.
And Dairy Queen, the Dilly Bar was first in Minnesota.
A Dilly bar?
A Dilly Bar.
What's a Dilly bar?
I think it
was. You saying deli or dilly?
Dilly,
D-I-L-L-Y.
Yeah. I think it's just ice cream that has, or that soft serve Dairy
With
Queen
bits
ice
in
cream.
it?
No, it has like a coating on it, like a candy coating on it.
Huh. I feel like I need one of these. Do they still have them?
Yo, I'm pretty sure. I don't eat ice cream, so I don't know. But
oh, God.
But it was invented in 1955 in Moorhead, Minnesota.
I love that random fact of yours. Well, although you got the question wrong, you redeemed yourself with all your random facts. Number 6, Minnesota shares its border with 2 provinces of Canada.
Only one.
No, it is 2.
Okay.
What are they? If you were to guess.
Oh, my gosh. I'm sorry, my Canadian friends.
If it was 1, what would you think it was?
Well, whatever Winnipeg is in, right below Winnipeg.
I'm not helping you.
I'm sorry. I know British Columbia is above Washington.
Okay, yes. So it's nowhere near that.
Yeah, so it's British
Manitoba.
Columbia. Okay, Manitoba.
Mate, Manitoba.
Yeah.
Manitoba and
Ontario?
Yes.
Okay.
Karen.
I pulled it out the last
You
minute.
did. With confidence, of course. Well done. Okay. Number 7. The state of Minnesota has made many important contributions to the medical field. The first open heart surgery and the first bone marrow transplant in the U.S. were performed at the University of Minnesota. True or false?
Correct. They're very big into medical stuff.
Yes, that's very
They had
interesting to me.
Mayo clinics. I don't know if you've heard of them.
I have, and that
the
started there.
Mayo brothers were from Minnesota.
Huh. Minnesota has more coastline than the combined states of California, Florida, and Hawaii.
I would say false. Coastline.
You would be incorrect.
Well,
this was fascinating to me.
Because we have Lake Superior, which is up in northern Minnesota.
Right.
Which is the biggest Great Lake.
Yeah, so apparently that's bigger than all of those combined.
Oh,
I'm
surprised by it.
I need to zoom in on maps, but I did believe it.
It's gorgeous. It's a lot of people from Minneapolis drive the 2 hours up north, especially in the fall, this time of year.
I was about to say, when would be the best time of the year?
The autumn is gorgeous up there because the leaves are turning and it's beautiful.
I have noticed, like driving home, like all the leaves, they do look spectacular. Although I'm not liking that we're going into autumn because it means the summer's over and winter
but it's
is upon
much
us.
better here than it is in Minnesota. That's one of the reasons
This is true. Do you
I
get
moved.
a ton of snow?
Yes.
Is it like when you open your door and it's just a wall of snow?
It could be.
Oh, that astounds me. Like I feel like I would have the most craziest cabin fever ever in something like that.
Well, and it lasts too long, but every year is different. And people think it's always cold there. It's not. What reason I didn't like it was it's extreme. It's really cold, and in the summer it's really, really hot. And humid.
What are your temperatures in the summer?
Like 90s, 100s.
Ooh, okay, I'm loving it.
No,
could live there.
It's in
I wouldn't
humidity.
like the cold. I could do the sun.
And we don't see. I like it here because it's more moderate. So
It
like,
is.
okay, don't if you're gone 1 week, you missed spring because that was a week
Right.
long. And it goes from 40 degrees to 100 degrees, and the swings are just like, okay, I'm too old for this.
This is true. Do you see yourself retiring out here?
Yes,
Like this is your life
this
now?
is my This
like
is where
that.
I will live for the rest of my life.
Okay, number 9. Minnesota held the country's largest mass execution in December 1862.
Oh, I think that's true.
Yes,
which
it
really
is.
Sad.
Did I go down a path?
Well, it's sad.
It is. On
We
December
didn't treat the
26th.
native people very well.
No, so
in the whole country we didn't. But
38 Dakota men were hung in Mankato.
Mankato.
Mankato, an event which remains the largest single execution in American history. The men who had received a commuted sentence were sent to Camp McClellan in Iowa, where they would remain interned for 4 years. Very sad.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes.
10. The common loon is the Minnesota state bird.
Correct.
Yes, did you know that?
Yes.
It
and they're-
reminds me of the loonie. Is it in Canada?
Canada.
The dollar coin?
Yes.
Looney and Toonie or something?
Yes. 1 and 2, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to tell you this. Tell me if this is true. Someone told me that if you ask a Minnesotan what the state bird is, the locals joke that the state bird should be the mosquito because there are so many lakes. Is that true?
Yes. And I am allergic to mosquito bites. I swell up, and it was awful. And I learned to live with it. And tea tree oil. If people ever get mosquito bites, tea tree oil takes away the
I do love
the
tea
bite.
tree. Is that Australian?
It might be.
I think it is.
I don't know where tea trees
It's our
come
one
from.
great invention. Yeah, no, I love that.
But and I used to just buy it by the gallon. When I moved out here,
Slather it.
people are like, "Oh, you're gonna," and I'm like, I think I've had one mosquito bite in the 5 years I've lived here.
Yeah, it's not common here. I
No,
agree.
It's awesome. There's no bugs.
No.
not like the Midwest.
What other random facts do you have for me?
We also have the long goodbye, like Australians.
Oh, like an Aussie goodbye.
Yes.
Do you call it a Minnesotan goodbye?
Yes.
Wait, is it a Minnesotan
Minnesotan? Yes.
or Minnesotian?
Minnesotan.
So you would be a Minnesotan.
Minnesotan.
Did I say it right? Minnesotan.
Minnesotan. Yes. So it was funny because I saw something that was like, there's 10 stages, and this is so true. You'd say, well, it's time to go. And then you hug everybody. That's
Uh-huh.
stage 2. Stage 3 is the prolonged leaving, so you start talking about something else. Stage 4 is people give you food. You got to take. You can't go hungry.
This.
So you have to have take some leftovers home. Stage 5 is you go to the entryway and you still have another conversation
still there.
Yep. Stage 6 is the second time you say, "Oh, it's probably time for me
to
go."
This is such an Australian goodbye.
And then 7 is you say goodbye again and you hug. Then 8 is you have to thank them, like, "Oh, this is a great time. We had fun."
Yeah,
blah,
must
blah,
do
blah.
it again.
9 is you actually leave. But then 10 is you have to roll down the window and start
100%.
talking to them from your car.
Okay.
Yes. So,
this is, okay, but you missed the step of this is Australian. You then walk them to their car, have a little conversation. Then they get in the car, have a conversation, wind down the window. Then as they're driving out the driveway, still having conversations.
And you waving. And
the only way to get out of this is another car to come and then be like, "Oh, I better let you go then."
Yeah, so I think we're very similar.
I love that. Love the Minnesotan goodbyes.
Yes. So
wow.
That was kind of funny. And then we do have, besides pop, we also say hot dish. We don't say casserole.
Oh, a hot dish.
I mean hot dish.
Can you bring a hot dish to the potluck?
Yes. Not a casserole. It's a hot dish.
And do we just know it's a casserole when we say hot dish?
Yeah.
It's not just a hot anything. It's
right. It's a legitimate casserole.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Are you bringing a hot dish over this weekend?
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we also have this thing called Juicy Lucy's that were invented.
A juicy
Yeah,
Lucy.
and I know you don't eat beef and I don't either, but it's a hamburger that has hot molten cheese in the middle of it. So it burns your mouth.
I know I'm having this vision that I did see one of my friends biting into a Juicy Lucy. It's now all clicking in my brain. And I remember he ate it and it all went down his shirt.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah, and I didn't realize it was cheese.
It was invented in Minnesota. There's two bar
Can you do a chicken one?
Restaurant. No,
sounds amazing.
That were close to where I lived in Minneapolis. That they both claimed that they were the first ones. But
and why Lucy?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if she was the one that invented it. I don't know. And then we also have this thing called meat raffles, which is really bizarre.
Oh, we have them in Australia.
Do you have them? Really?
No, legitimately. Like you win a slab of meat. Like it'll be like some sausages and some. Yes. You're right. That is weird. No, now I'm thinking about it. It's like I never see anything like that here.
Well, and one of my librarian friends, another Karen, her husband claims that he has meatraffle.com. Like he owns that website. I don't know if he does or not, but that was his big claim.
I'm going to need to do a Google on that one as well. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So I thought that was just Midwestern. I learned something. This is awesome.
Yeah. I'd never heard of it here. I didn't even think to mention it because it's just so odd.
And something else about Minnesota we didn't mention was we have a state fair that's like legendary.
I heard the largest in the USA. That was going to be one of my questions.
It's second largest because Texas has a larger one, but theirs goes longer days. And there's I suppose it depends on how you measure it.
Interesting.
And it's a big thing. It's
like the end always
of summer. Yeah. It's the end of summer. It's 12 days. People watching is incredible.
I would love that.
There's music. There's tons of really unhealthy food.
Oh, bloody love the fair food.
And we have corn dogs and pronto puffs.
A pronto puff? Please tell me what that is and where I can get one.
So then there's a big controversy over that. I don't eat it, so I don't. But corn dogs, the batter that you stick your hot dog in is made out of corn. A pronto puff, it's a flour dough.
Oh, like pancake?
I mean, I don't think it's that thick.
I feel like this would taste really good, but I can't do the hot dog, like the beef hot dog. Yeah. Like give me a chicken, maybe a little chicken wrapped in something that sounds really good though.
Well, back to Lori, when we were in high school, she did a report on what's actually in a hot dog.
Oh God.
Neither one of us have eaten one ever since.
I feel like that about a chicken nugget. Like I can't get it unless it is a piece of chicken breast cut into a nugget shape. I cannot do processed chicken.
Yeah.
I'm so fussy about my meat and everything anyway that I just have to know one.
I think you and I could eat together very well.
Yeah, like I hear one fact and I'm like done. Yeah. Like I can never eat that again. Yeah. I'm loving this. Any more, please?
I can't think of anything.
Okay.
I mean, I have more notes, but let's save that for later.
Well, I really
probably
appreciate
sick of Minnesota.
No,
so.
not at all. I could keep going. Will you promise to come back?
Sure, this has been really fun.
Yes.
Way more fun than I thought it would be. I thought it'd be way more nervous, but
no, I've been asking you to come for a long time. We finally got our schedules to. Or I conned you to come, whatever, however it happened. I'm glad it happened. Please keep giving us feedback. I'll look forward to the random facts about your own episode because I'm pretty sure you'll do that.
I'll correct myself. Like, what did I say that for?
1,000 times. Any questions or feedback, please reach out to our Facebook page. Leave us a voicemail. Links in the show notes. If you would like to support us and buy me a coffee next week, jump onto buymeacoffee.com/GetAUSA. Rate and review us. And as we always say, Karen,
if it's not 5 stars, be Diane Warwick and walk on by.
I like that. What is a Minnesotan phrase that you could give us to end this episode? Like, what would you say if you were leaving after your 10 steps of goodbyes? What would be the final, like?
I don't know. We don't really have a good,
say goodbye.
See you guys later.
See you guys later. Okay. See you guys later. Bye.
Bye.